Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, thank you, Mr. Producer. All right, we're back, and I'm joined by the one and only Laura Fluke. Laura, so nice to have you back, and always a great time. How you doing?
I am doing really awesome, and thanks. It's great to be back. It's always fun to share time with you and
Same here,
just
same
share
here.
stories and stuff. So,
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
Laura, can you kind of give people, in case they're new to your show, a
Mhm.
little bit about what you do and how that you're helping people because you're doing that quite a bit.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think in the course of our conversations, I think I've kind of come down to, the best way to describe me is a holistic manual therapist. And I come to that by way of I'm a licensed physical therapist assistant, retired from that particular part of my career. I'm also a licensed massage therapist, and I did that so that I could practice craniosacral therapy. And craniosacral therapy is kind of, I would say, my most primary modality. And that connects with, the energy and like the flow of the cerebral spinal fluid around the brain and the spinal cord. We can correct a lot of dysfunctions in the body by using craniosacral therapy. And then, into that bridges a gap into, or the, what's next into what's called somato emotional release, which is somato is body, emotional, obviously, and release. So when you think about it, when somebody says, it's all in your head, well, maybe there's a connection to the body. Hang on, let's investigate that. So that's where the SER, somato-emotional release, becomes, psychosomatic. We've heard those words.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So like psycho is mind, okay, and somatic is body. So we hear mind body in a more psychiatric kind of verbiage, maybe.
Yeah,
So we see how that all happens. So, then there's a beautiful way to bridge that gap even farther, go farther into exploring what's going on in one's internal landscape by using um a more dialogue system. And in previous conversations, I've shared about Suzanne Scurlock's healing from the core method. And, I know so many different things, but it's been such a joy to see how her material has really brought together so many of my, so much of my training and my experience. And so I use that method to really bridge the gap and all of it and kind of just ooze into all the nooks and crannies of where doesn't each one fit properly or doesn't always address. Physical therapy doesn't address some of the body stuff.
right,
EST does. You know what I mean? So it's a beautiful way to kind of go wherever the body is at, we can sink into that.
right.
So yeah, it's been a really exciting adventure in my professional life. I use all of these methods in my personal life, and I'm just really honored to be in a place to be able to go and share this with the people who come to me for connection. And hey, I got a hitch in my get along, or something's going on with somebody in my family or something like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and I love how you bring in some of your own experiences to say, hey, I know kind of what you're going through. I mean, and you give an example, which is really cool. So,
well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so I was going to just say, you know, if you bring up the mind, body, spirit around you,
Right.
there I can get something new. I hear a different angle each time I talk to you because you are an expert in so many different modalities.
Well, I thank you for thank you for acknowledging that, but I have to be honest with you, it's a little odd for my ears to hear that word expert. I think I've mastered a lot of aspects of
Okay,
who I
I'll use
am.
master then.
Yeah, I've earned that, I think and thanks for the space to just kind of acknowledge that for myself as well here, because I just finished all of my coursework for my master certification in the healing from the core, methodology. And, it is such a beautiful, I love to see how it's just really brought together everything. And, there's always a saying, that you can't take somebody anywhere you haven't been, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and you know, between you and I mean, we have a video connection, and I see all these little, you know, these little angles behind you, and they're even different colors, and there's shadows to them and everything like that, you know. So there's always something to explore. There's a little pocket in each one of those little divots right there. So I mean, we just kind of pick one out every once in a while,
So
and
cool.
you know, so who knows? It just whatever's appropriate for the day, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you know, people you know, love your show and you know how you know, honest that you are and um you were going to tell me a story. I had to stop you because I want the audience to hear at the
Yeah.
same time because this sounded like it was going to be like a real positive kick that everyone needs in these
So
times.
yeah, so you know, I'm you know, just doing my weekend. And in fact, I think I had even the kids we had gone apple picking over the weekend, which you know, what I wanted to do too is point out, you know, like for whoever listens to this stuff, I would just really invite people to really start listening to, you know, the connections that I make to my everyday life and those things that become nourishing to me. So I mentioned this to go and say, you know, our family has been going apple picking here in Michigan since my children were, you know, knee high to a grasshopper, as they say, you know, right? So now I have grandchildren that are 6 and almost 4. And, you know, they're in the orchard and they're going, Busha, Busha, and it's Polish for grandma, and Busha, you know, we're gonna go to that building and we're gonna get cider and we're gonna get donuts and I'm like, did mama tell you we're gonna do that? Or did you remember this? She goes, I remember that. I'm like, holy cow, it's taken hold, you know, at 4 years old almost. And you know, and then my, you know, my 6-year-old says, hey, Busha, are we gonna go back to your house and use the apple core and you know, go to make strudel and everything like that, and apple pies and connect to papa. And you know, and it's just like there's this family connection in food. And so in our family, and this is where I'm inviting the listener to kind of see those things in life that creates that sense of nourishment when you are doing something, you know, maybe it's you a walk in the woods and you feel nourished, you know, in that, or you know, what have you. But this weekend it was hanging out with my family, going apple picking and just carrying on a tradition that's probably, my goodness, probably 25 years plus. So
That's great.
yeah, so it's just amazing. So I was very nourished this weekend, and so here I'm just riding the wave on this, and
Okay.
you know, you know, I'm you know, hanging out in my house, and a friend texts me and she says, hey, you know, my daughter has been coughing really pretty badly, and you know, hasn't been sleeping as a result, and kind of got a little angry, frustrated, right? You know, young little one, you know, I said, okay, well, you know, what's the character of the cough? And this is all through text, mind you.
Okay.
I said, what's the character of the cough? And she shared that, and she goes, you know, and then there's also maybe a little bit of sinus drainage stuff going on. So who knows? You know, Michigan's changing. Could be allergies. I
Allergies,
don't know
right?
what this
Maybe,
guy
you
is,
don't
right?
know.
I don't know, but you know, I just needed a couple of key pieces of information.
Right.
So it's some like 9:30 at night, and you know, maybe some she's trying to snuggle in with the kids, and I'm like, all right, cool. So, you know, I said, okay, well, I'm gonna hold your daughter's um nasal bones because it felt like her face was very compressed. So I go and you know, you know, with my training, I'm able to kind of come underneath and, you know, kind of push up on the nasal bone so that there's creating more space. Because this mom is the first one who came to see me long time ago. So I've now treated her then husband, her 2 daughters, her mom, obviously herself, and an aunt.
Wow.
So it's been such a beautiful connection in this family that, and I've been so honored to go and do this. So here, you know, here, I says, okay, well, just do me a favor, you know, if you want to engage also, and she's, you know, learned enough about this in her own body to understand this. So I said, if you imagine kind of using suction cups just on your fingertips intentionally, as you're just sitting there with your daughter, just intentionally hold her face and kind of help me suck out, like pull up her face a little bit so that it gives her nasal bones a little more space to move. So it's okay. So, then, so now I'm working with her and I'm sensing, okay, well, now if there's that sinus drainage going down her throat, I'm, interacting with the throat and saying, hey, this little one's not feeling well. It's preventing her from sleeping and she's getting a little grumpy, understandably. So, throat, would you mind not being so ticklish? So that, if there's anything that has to be released from her sinuses, that it can.
Hmm.
And then, so then now she can at least rest and sleep and everything, whatever is necessary and whatever is important to that. Okay. So then I, even, I, touched her lungs or, held her lungs and kind of interacted with that and everything. And, so, kind of this maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe we're connected and over the just text. I'm just texting her this. That's it. This is what blows my mind.
Okay.
Okay. And this is what makes my being able to do this work create just this giddiness and this passion of just going, I can't believe this works. I do this. And I'm like floored that this works the way that it does. And
Cool.
so, I'm like, okay, so let me know how she's doing. Hopefully you guys get some rest, love you. That's it. So sure enough, I mean, like, and okay, so she goes, oh, and by the way, she was silent the entire time, not one cough.
No
Wow.
way.
No way, no way. So,
Wow.
I'm like, okay, you guys go and do your night and hopefully you'll rest and everything like that. So now, the next day comes and I, just reached out to the mom and, she's getting ready for, her job in the morning. But later on, I was like, hey, how's your little one? How'd she sleep and everything like that? And she goes, oh my God, I had to wake her up.
Ah,
That never happens.
that's awesome.
So I just was so tickled and just so thankful that, between her understanding how this works, not only because she's, been on the quiet room table, right? But, she understands the principle of this mind body connection.
Okay.
And this, what we were doing here, it wasn't weird. It wasn't woojy. The mom knew exactly what was going on. She also spoke to the daughter and said, hey, and the girls know me as I have sleeve tattoos, and one of my tattoos is a turtle.
Okay.
And
Why?
so
Can I ask why?
well, this particular turtle, and it's a meaningful story actually, when my husband and I, he was diagnosed, I'd mentioned before, he was diagnosed with cancer in 2014.
Yeah.
So, instead of buying wood floors in 2015, we decided to go to Maui to make memories. So, so sure enough, we go to Maui. We're on the boat and they're, we're going to go snorkeling. So, they tell us, okay, don't put your fins on until you get to the water near the end of the boat kind of thing. So you don't trip, don't touch the coral, be careful, you'll get hurt, you'll hurt them, all the normal things, right? So, okay, fine. So we get in the water, we're in there maybe 5-10 minutes. I'm like, holy cow, Pacific Ocean, it's the most amazing blue water, it's crazy. And so then, kind of, I'm like, oh my God, Dave, this is so cool. And here, we're above surface and these kids going, oh my God, turtles. So I go down and I'm like, oh my God, there's a turtle. And honest to God, Casey, maybe not much more than 2-3 flipper kicks. And I reach out instinctually and I touch the left rear fin of this turtle. And I swear in the name of Jesus, sweet dear darling, I tell you what, glory to God. I'm like, and it was like, that was one of, that, in your bones, something did something. I'm like, I didn't just touch a turtle. Something happened here. So I'm like, what in the hell? So, okay, we're done, with our trip. And now, we've done dinner. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go walk on the beach. And, sure enough, I'm walking out on the shores of Maui near Kihei. And I'm just talking and just going, good God, what the heck was that? I go, I didn't just touch a turtle. What was that all about? And he goes, well, all those times that you prayed for me to become tangible, I decided to.
Wow.
And it was just one of those moments of going, oh my God, that was just, it was just the tangibility of the Holy Spirit everything that I know the divine to be, the divine to be. Yes. And it was an amazing moment. And I, just having the wherewithal to, we had an underwater camera available, and I had the presence of mind to snap the shot of the turtle. And that is on my right forearm.
Cool.
And so it's a tool even for me to connect to those memories, and I have a friend that often teases me about, you're getting more ink again. And I can tell you, even as I'm, you can see the position that I'm in. My left hand is on that turtle. My left hand or my right hand is on a piece of ink, a piece that is connected to my daughter. So in many ways I'm connecting to multiple people just by the way of how these positions of my arms are at times, where my hands are in the moment. There's that energy. Here's the mind body connection again.
Mm.
I have that mind body connection to, I when I connect to my body and I just sink into that turtle tattoo, I think of that experience, and again, that nurturing thing. What is nurturing to my mind today? What is nurturing to my body today? What's nurturing to my soul and spirit today? Whew, just sinking into that connection of that turtle tattoo. So here we are, circling back around.
Yeah.
This young lady, we're at a local beach, and the kids know me as the turtle tattoo Laura.
Okay.
So, the kids were, asked permission. Is it okay if turtle tattoo Laura may come to you in your dreams tonight and maybe help you feel better? The kids said sure. So the mom has also educated the kids to going, it's okay that, it's kind of in a dream state for them, for their understanding, right? But they can be in a more subconscious level with this, in that state, in that dream state, and understand it a little more easily because it's just neutral there.
Hmm.
Whereas, the mom is understanding as she's holding her daughter in her lap, she's understanding what to do, by way of education experience, and, as I mentioned, her then husband has come to see me, and, his connection to his body is not as deep. I would be shocked if he called me and said, hey, could you go and hold my right earlobe? And because that's not his knowledge, that's not his mind body awareness. So you can see that there's these different levels of who knows what,
Hmm.
how they're interacting with their body. And also in previous conversations we've talked about, I use this kind of mental karate belting system, white for beginner, green for intermediate, brown is for more seasoned and advanced, and then black belt would be that master. So if I had to share anything about, when you mentioned the whole expert to master thing,
Yeah.
I've even had this amazing experience, and I don't know if we even have time to share it from
Yeah.
now,
Yeah. Yeah. We do.
but I had okay, here we go. All
Yeah.
right. So
You're very passionate and very happy, and it's you could see it, and it's coming from all parts. I could just see, like, when you got good energy, you got,
yeah,
and
and
it's
so
contagious. It's cool.
well, see, again, and this is, we've talked about a person's aura, or a person,
Yeah.
a caller had asked, can you, or I think it was a listener had wrote in and said, hey, can you transfer your energy? Can you move energy and, bring a negative energy into a room? So you're even saying we're on a Zoom call, and you're saying the energy is contagious. And I don't mean anything by that, but it's like going, yes, this is how this works. We're raising awareness to how does this work between all of us, right? And so, yeah, it's just interesting. So, okay, so circling back to
Yeah.
the belt. So I had an instance where, and I don't have permission for the specifics of this particular story, but I had hang on, I just want to make sure that it's okay that I do this. Hang on. I really want to honor this person. Okay, I can do this very broadly.
Okay.
So a person was struggling with something in an earlier part of the week. And a common person reached out and said, hey, could you reach out to our common person? I said, yeah, no worries. I got you. So I arranged to have a conversation with the common person, the directed one.
Hmm.
And, it was an interesting conversation. It was an extremely timely one. It was a very time sensitive one. It was an extremely important one that needed definite support for this person.
Okay.
And I'll leave it there. So, okay. So now this person also had an appointment with me very shortly thereafter, comes here, and this session was it was very deep, and it covered a lot of ground for that person. And when we concluded the table time, we returned back to, here in my family room, and we're just kind of, I always say, let's have some conversation about, what happened in the session, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, do you
Right.
feel different, something.
Hmm.
And again, meaning total privacy for this person. The session went well. The session went as it was meant to. The connection was as it was meant to. But it was a very intense one, again, which circled back around to the connection with the common person, the third common person with
Okay.
us. So we got the help for this person that she needed.
Okay.
And she was actually with me for 4 hours that day to give you some level of depth that we needed to go, how the level of support that this person needed, and what we were able to do to go and gain that support for her and get her where she needed to be. So, she's on her way to where she needed to be after she left my home. And, I'm sitting here and decompressing, just kind of going, wow, that was a session.
Wow.
And thank God that I was the person for that timing, for that person's needs. And, I'm just sitting here and I'm speaking, just like going, okay, now you get it, Ma. Now you get it. Now you understand why, you know, I went through some of the things in, my emotional journey, my emotional maturing journey,
Hmm.
my mental health journey. And, it was this very intimate moment that came through, like a decompression session for myself with a practitioner to hold space for me. And in this moment, I see my mom land in a helicopter on the Hana side of Maui. And she's just, this is a common thing. There is a place like a helipad-ish kind of thing, or, space for helicopter, the
Hmm.
touring helicopters to go. So my mom, who has now been deceased since 2019, is in this imagery in this session, and she steps out of the helicopter, and she walks up to me and hands me this bag. It's a Ziploc bag that has a folded up master's, it's a black belt, and it was folded up in a Ziploc bag to keep it like it's a brand new, a new belt.
Right.
And she goes, I get it now, you've really earned this.
Wow.
And so she hands it to me. And I mean, of course, all the things that would, all the things that would come in that moment of going, holy shit, like,
Oh my God.
I am so glad that I listened. I'm so glad that I connected with this person that needed me.
Yeah.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for all of the stuff that I've gone through and have come out of and have earned, some level of like little, like little Boy Scout badges that say, yes, you're good at here and yes, you're good here. So in some ways I kind of feel like, an Eagle Scout with certain different
That's
badges about
awesome.
what I'm able to go and lead and guide somebody through.
So cool.
So, this is where, that essence of, you can only take someone as far as you have gone.
Yeah.
And, I've gone down some pretty interesting segments of the River of Life, my honey. I'm telling you what. And I have earned my master's belt in River Guide
No
of
doubt.
Life, the two
It,
as well. So,
wow. That is an
so
awesome story. That is man, yeah, you just came full circle on that. I mean, if that wasn't confirmation and just celebration of everything that you've done
yeah,
and how you've helped people and to come from that source. So cool. What a great story.
yeah. And I mean, I think, I think the divine. And again, it's in Maui, right? So here's this divine experience in
Where the
Maui,
turtle, where the
right,
turtle
with the
was.
turtle, right? And I have this divine experience in the spiritual realm, in a session, in the energetic realm. And I'm having this connection with my mom. And it was so important that, it what made it meaningful. And this is again, what's nourishing and nurturing to you? What are those meaningful things to you? God or life or the universe, whoever we want to call this, right? The one who goes by 10,000 names and yet remains unnameable.
Mhm.
I'm used my mom to go and say, holy shit, you did a thing.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? And,
I
and, and
know.
I think this is where when we connect to our ancestors and those who've gone before us, when we connect to them and they come to us in meaningful ways, there's no one else that could have handed me my
Yeah.
my black
That
belt.
was perfect. Hey, Laura,
Right?
Laura, on that, we're way past time here, but
I'm
how do
so
people,
sorry.
it's okay. It's an awesome story, great appearance, great show. Laura, just tell people how to get a hold of you.
Okay, so quietroom808.com is my website. I'm also on Facebook. And we do want to mention on the quietroom808.com, I have a media tab that we have been downloading these now onto YouTube. So those are posted on the quietroom808.com and to go to media, and then you can see all the previous podcasts and kind of see how we can kind of gel all this stuff together. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's been a pleasure this morning, Casey. Thank you so
Hey,
much.
same here. Thank you. I'd love to start off like that. Laura Fluke, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll be right
Have a
back.
great one.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.